The Loose Women's studio was buzzing with its usual Tuesday afternoon energy. The panel, Denise Welch, Kay Adams, Nadia Sawalha, and Jane Moore sat ready at the desk. Producers had promised viewers a headline-making guest, someone who could boost ratings and spark conversation. What they didn't know was that they were about to witness a masterclass in how not to behave on live television. Meghan Markle swept in the studio 20 minutes late. Her assistant followed closely, carrying a list of demands. Lighting angles had to be adjusted, certain questions were off limits, and the production team was ordered to make sure everything looked perfect. The crew scrambled to accommodate, but Denise watched from her anchor's seat with growing irritation. "We are live in 60 seconds, the floor manager called out. Meghan finally took her chair at the panel desk, giving only the briefest of nods to her hosts. There was no apology for her lateness. No word of thanks for the invitation, just an expectant look that suggested the show should feel honored to have her. "And we are live in 5, 4, 3. The red light came on and Denise's professional smile appeared instantly. Decades of TV experience kicking in. Welcome back to Loose Women. I'm Denise Welch, joined today by Kay, Nadia, and Jane. And with us, a very special guest, Meghan Markle, who's here to talk about her latest projects and her life in California. The audience applauded politely. Meghan's smile looked practiced, almost painted on. "Thank you for having me," she said, but her tone made it sound less like gratitude and more like a favor she was doing for them. Denise pressed on, determined to keep things upbeat. "So Meghan, tell us about settling into life in America. Has it been everything you hoped for?" Meghan leaned back, her expression calm but calculated. "Well, Denise, it's been liberating, finally being able to speak my truth without the constraints of an institution that never really understood who I was or what I could bring to the table." Kay Adams leaned forward gently. "That must have been a difficult decision to make, leaving so much behind." "I wouldn't say I left everything behind," Meghan replied, irritation creeping into her voice. "I left behind negativity. I left behind people who couldn't see past their own prejudices." The studio's mood shifted. Nadia exchanged a quick glance with Jane. Jane tried to offer something positive. "But surely there were good experiences during your time in the UK. The charitable work, meeting people from all walks of life." Meghan's smile thinned. "Jane, I think that's rather naive. When you're dealing with an institution built on outdated traditions and, frankly, racist undertones, the charitable work becomes nothing more than a performance. I was being used as a token, a way for them to appear modern while keeping the same old power structures in place." Denise's composure was tested for the first time. "That's quite a serious accusation, Meghan. The royal family has been working to modernize for decades." "Has it though?" Meghan shot back quickly. "From where I sat, it felt like they wanted to put me in a box, to make me smaller, less threatening to the order they have always protected. They couldn't handle a strong, independent woman who knows her worth." The tension was now unmistakable. The panel looked uneasy. Kay, trying to ease the atmosphere, switched gears. "Let's talk about your podcast work. That must be fulfilling, having complete creative control at last." "Yes," Meghan answered, her tone sharp. Though I have to say the British media's reaction has been typically small-minded. They can't stand that I have built success on my own terms, that I don't need their approval anymore. Nadia interjected. But you're on a British platform right now, speaking to a British audience. Meghan laughed. A sharp, almost mocking sound. Meghan laughed. A sharp, almost mocking sound. True, but let's be honest. I'm doing you a favor, aren't I? Your ratings probably tripled the moment my name was announced. The studio went silent. Even the camera crew froze. Denise felt something snap inside. I'm sorry, did you just say you're doing us a favor? Well, yes, Meghan replied casually. I mean, when was the last time loose women had someone of my profile? Someone with international recognition? I could have chosen any show, any platform, but I came here because I thought you deserved the opportunity. The panel stared in disbelief. The mood in the studio had officially shifted from uncomfortable to explosive. The panel exchanged uneasy glances. Jane Moore tried to steer the conversation back toward safer ground. Perhaps there were positive aspects of your time here. Your charitable work, meeting communities across the UK. Meghan's reply was cold. Jane, that's rather naive. When you're part of an institution built on outdated traditions, and yes, on racist undertones, those gestures become little more performance. Those gestures become little more than performance. I was being used as a token, a convenient symbol to make the monarchy appear modern, while nothing underneath actually changed. Denise's professional mask faltered. That's quite an accusation, Meghan. The royal family has been working to modernize for decades. Has it really? Meghan retorted. From where I sat, it felt like they wanted to contain me, to make me smaller, to keep me from being seen as a threat. And they couldn't handle a strong, independent woman who knew her worth. The panel shifted uncomfortably. Kay tried to rescue the tone. Let's turn to your podcast. Surely that's been a rewarding experience. Having creative freedom at last. Having creative freedom at last? Yes, Meghan. Yes, Meghan said firmly. Though, as expected, the British media has been predictably narrow-minded. They can't accept that I have succeeded on my own terms. That I don't need their platforms anymore. Nadia couldn't hold back. But you are here on a British platform, speaking to a British audience. Meghan laughed, sharp and dismissive. True, but let's be honest. I'm doing you the favor. Let's not pretend your ratings didn't skyrocket the moment my appearance was announced. The studio froze. Even the camera operators hesitated. Denise leaned forward, her patience thinning. I'm sorry, Meghan. Did you just say you're doing us a favor? Well, yes, Meghan said matter-of-factly. Well, yes, Meghan said matter-of-factly. When was the last time Loose Women hosted someone of my profile, someone with international recognition? I could have chosen any show, any platform, but I came here because I thought you deserved the chance. Jane's mouth dropped open slightly. Kay looked as though she was watching a slow-motion car crash. Denise's voice was now steady but ice-cold. Meghan, I think you are confused about how this works. We invited you here as a courtesy. to give you a platform. We didn't beg you. Didn't you, though? Meghan's smile turned cruel. Your producers called mine several times. They were eager, almost desperate, you could say. The audience began to stir restlessly. This wasn't the uplifting interview they'd been expecting. Nadia tried one last time to salvage the situation. Perhaps we could focus on the positive, your new life, your family, your project. You know what I'm passionate about, Nadia? Authenticity. Something that seems to be in very short supply here in Britain. Everyone hides behind profile facades while saying vicious things behind closed doors. Kay spoke softly. That's quite a generalization. Is it, Meghan shot back. Look at this panel. Look at the show. Four middle-aged women sitting here gossiping about celebrities and current events, pretending you are offering some valuable commentary. It's rather sad, isn't it? Her words hit the studio like a thunderclap. Jane went pale. Kay's expression crumpled. Nadia's eyes flashed with anger. Denise's voice sliced through the silence. Right, I think that's quite enough. The studio was electric. Denise leaned forward, her tone cutting and precise. You came onto our show 20 minutes late, making demands and restrictions. You have spent the last 10 minutes insulting us, our audience, our country, and our profession. And now you have the audacity to suggest that we should feel grateful for your presence. Meghan tried to keep her composure. I was simply being honest about what I have observed. No, Denise snapped. You were being rude. There is a difference, one that frankly you seem to have forgotten. The panel sat stunned, watching Denise unleash years of pent-up frustration at entitled guests. Her voice rose slightly, each word deliberate. I have been in this business for 30 years. I've interviewed politicians, celebrities, royalty, and ordinary people with extraordinary stories. Not once, not ever, has anyone sat in that chair and shown such brazen disrespect to me, my colleagues, and the millions who watch this program. Meghan tried to interrupt. No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. No, you wait, Denise fired back. You think because you married into royalty, because you have a podcast and a Netflix deal, that makes you better than us? That gives you the right to come in here and treat us like we should be grateful for scraps of your attention? The cameras zoomed in, capturing Meghan's face as her confidence faltered for the first time. I never said I was better than anyone, she protested weakly. You didn't have to say it, Denise shot back. It drips from every word, every gesture, every condescending smile. You think we are beneath you? That this show is beneath you? That this country is beneath you? Jane finally found her voice. We welcomed you in good faith, Meghan. We wanted to hear your story, to give you a fair platform. And this is how you repay that? Kay nodded slowly. We have had difficult guests before. People going through tough times, people with controversial opinions, but they always showed respect for us and for our viewers. Nadia leaned back, her voice heavy with disappointment. Do you know what's really sad? You had the chance to build bridges today, to share something meaningful. Instead, you have chosen to burn everything down. Meghan looked around the panel and suddenly realized she was outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and worst of all, out of sympathy. The tension in the studio was unbearable. The panel sat rigid, the audience silent, every camera capturing the storm unraveling live on air. Meghan tried to regain control. I think there has been a misunderstanding. I was simply trying to have an honest conversation about my experiences. Honest, Denise's voice was icy. You call sitting here telling us our show is sad and irrelevant honest. You call suggesting we begged you to appear here honest. Honest, Denise's voice was icy. You call sitting here telling us our show is sad and irrelevant honest? You call suggesting we begged you to appear here honest? No, Meghan, that wasn't honesty. That was arrogance. The audience remained frozen, hanging on every word. Meghan shifted uncomfortably in her chair, her confidence cracking. Look, she said, forcing a smile. Maybe my words were taken the wrong way. If you really think about it, you will see I was making valid points about the media landscape. Jane cut in sharply. Valid points? No, Meghan. What you made were attacks, personal attacks on women who welcomed you here with open arms. Kay shook her head, her voice breaking slightly. What hurts the most is that we genuinely wanted to hear your story. We prepared thoughtful questions. We rearranged an entire format because we believed you had something meaningful to say. Meghan's mask slipped completely. I do have meaningful things to share, but clearly this audience isn't sophisticated enough to understand nuance. Everything has to be spelled out in simple terms for British television viewers. The studio gasped. The studio gasped. The several audience members looked genuinely insulted. Nadia stood up abruptly, her chair scraping across the floor. That's it. You just insulted every single person in this room, and everyone watching at home. Sit down, Nadia. Meghan waved her off dismissively. You're being dramatic. Dramatic, Nadia shot back, her voice rising. You just called our viewers unsophisticated. These are people who have supported this show for years, people who trust us to treat them with respect, and you have spat in their faces. Denise leaned forward, her patience finally gone. I have been in this business for 30 years, Meghan. I have interviewed politicians, prime ministers, world leaders, and never, not once, have I dealt with such rudeness and contempt. Meghan rolled her eyes. Oh, please, spare me the fake sentiment. You're television presenters, not saints. This is just a business arrangement. Kay's voice was steady but deadly. Is that how you see it? A transaction where you can treat people however you like as long as it serves your purpose? Meghan snapped back. I treat people the way they deserve to be treated. If you can't handle direct communication, maybe television isn't for you. Began the audience began murmuring angrily. Someone in the back shouted, "That's enough!" Someone in the back shouted, "That's enough!" Security glanced toward the stage. Jane leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. Do you actually believe what you are saying, or is this some kind of performance? Because if this is really who you are, I pity the people closest to you. Don't psychoanalyze me, Meghan shot back. You don't know me. No, Denise said firmly, but we are getting to know you very well right now. And frankly, we don't like what we are seeing. The words landed like a hammer. Meghan's jaw tightened. You know what's really tragic? Nadia said quietly. You had a platform today, 4 experienced women ready to listen with empathy, and you threw it all away, just to tear others down. I'm not being cruel, Meghan insisted. I'm being real. No, Denise replied, her tone final. You're being mean. You're being mean. There is a difference. The studio was silent. Even the technical crew stopped moving. Then, with a final roll of her eyes, Meghan muttered, You know what? You're right. I don't have to pretend to care about you, your little show, or your audience. I'm done pretending any of this matters. Gasps rippled across the audience. Denise straightened slowly, her face hard as stone. There it is, the real you. Thank you, Meghan, for finally being honest. She turned to the cameras. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes no matter how much opportunity you give someone, no matter how much goodwill, some people will choose to be ugly. And when that happens, the only response is to remove them from your life. Her eyes shifted back to Meghan. Security will escort you out. Your appearance on Loose Women is over, and you will not be invited back. Meghan's face went pale. You can't ban me from your show. I just did, Denise said calmly. 2 security guards stepped onto the set. Meghan stood, her voice shaking. You'll regret this. I have influence you can't even imagine. No, Denise replied coldly. You have far less than you think, and after today, you will have even less. The guards flanked Meghan and guided her toward the exit. Her protests echoed through the studio until she disappeared from sight. Denise returned to her seat, straightened her papers, and looked directly into the camera. We'll be right back after this break, she said with professional composure, as though nothing had happened. But everyone in the studio knew they had witnessed something extraordinary. The day when entitled behavior met its match and lost.